Welcome to the Practical Mystic Show, where we bring you simple tips and techniques from around the globe to help practical people deal with extraordinary experiences. And now, your favorite scientist, shaman, and sacred clown, and also the show's host, Janine Bolin.
Hey, and welcome. I cannot tell you how excited I am with the Practical Mystic Show. Today we have someone incredibly special who we had planned this for months, actually, because her schedule is so busy, my schedule is so busy. Well, who we have today is wonderful, Jill Liberte. She is with us today. Very excited about this because last year, 2018, a lot of people in my world were starting new businesses. And we were like, hey, Jill, what does the next year look like? She's a forerunner in the world of astrology. She's asked to speak at Native American conferences, at Star Knowledge conferences. She's gone all over. And one of the things is she was dead on the money. And we were able to put our energies into our businesses and into our lives in a way where we were not feeling like we were the ones that had the problems. We were able to see that there were aspects of the life that we had no control over, and Jill was able to kind of give us guideposts on that. So thank you for coming to the show today, Jill.
Thanks for having me back, Janine. It's always a pleasure being here. I just adore you.
I get all excited, I'm like a little kid. It's like, Jill's here. So trying to keep it down a notch. We would love to hear. Now, Jill can do readings out for the full year, but if you want that, I really recommend you hire her, get it personalized. She's brilliant that way. However, she's willing to give us a little preview. So how about I just let you do your thing? Take it away.
Okay, great. Well, I hope you all did survive 2018. It was an entire year pretty much it was a retrograde remix all year. So I hope you took more time for yourselves. I hope all the relationships that needed to survive, and some that we probably need to let go of. It was definitely a year of relationships, and not just significant to others, but all relationships in general. But mostly it was a time really for us to go in and get a better idea of who we are, what our values are. And I think that the big theme for 2018, it was a time for us to, you have to look back in order to go forward. So that was 2018. 2019, I'm so happy to say, is going to be definitely about forward movement. Finally, oh my God, we can throw away the Michael Jackson moon boots, the moonwalking shoes and all that. That was 2018. Now we're going to move forward. So let's start with what's going on in December. So we're actually recording this on December 5th, and we have a new moon just after midnight on December 7th at 12:20 a.m. Mountain Time, a new moon in Sagittarius. So new moons are about, it's about beginnings and giving birth. So this is about giving birth with that Sagittarius energy to new visions, new adventures, expanding your horizons. Jupiter is a very expansive, generous energy. So it's going to be a little contrary. So usually we think of doing our New Year's resolutions starting around January 1st. We don't want to wait till January 1st. This is the energy where we want to really think and create about what we want to bring in for 2019. And it's going to be big. Sagittarius is the sign of Santa Claus, and it's the month of Santa Claus, right? So we want, yes, and I'm talking to Mrs. Santa Claus. So this energy, and this is also going to be a repeated theme throughout 2019 of, this is about faith and optimism and enthusiasm, which we haven't been feeling very much of in 2018. So the energy is finally starting to shift. So what's interesting, the new moon is when the sun and the moon are sitting next to each other in the sky. And so it's making a 90-degree angle, what we call a square in astrology, to two other planets that are sitting right next to each other in the sky. And that's the planet Mars and Neptune. Mars is the planet of action, and Neptune connects to that universal oneness. And when Mars and Neptune sit next to each other in the sky, it's I like to call that's the spiritual warrior. It's the commitment to do no harm to anyone. So it's, this really beautiful soft and also very expansive energy, but the energy is actually so expansive it's diffuse. Okay, so and the challenge can be sometimes with that Mars-Neptune combination, it's you can really fantasize about where you want to go, but you may not have the energy to get there. But now is not the time about the movement. Now is really the time in the month of December is really to, again, what's your vision, what's your plans, where do you want to go? It's not the action time, but I mean, but this is definitely dream big, go big or go home kind of energy. So, and it's also that Mars-Neptune energy it's really very creative. And it wants to be expressed instead of action. The better expression is expression through dance or poetry or song, something that's more creative, more imaginative as well. So with these two planets kind of squaring off in the sky, two sets of planets during this new moon energy, it can be a lot of energy that can help you to be able to meet challenges head on, but there can be some emotional volatility with it as well. So it's like maybe the emotion is spawning the meeting the challenges or however it needs to be deemed. And there can be with this energy too, and again, it's the theme for the new month with that expansion, and it's really challenging because there can be swings of great inspiration and great dreams and very lofty goals, and then the counter to that would be the disillusionment and then the unrealistic dream. So because what squares do. This 90-degree angle, it's like overwhelm. It's this huge tension, and it has to be released somewhere. So it can be a little bit, rocky. But how are you going to navigate the waters there? So the theme here is actually again going to be a repeated theme in 2019. So we're getting a taste of it. So what we have is the new moon in Sagittarius, which is this really big, expansive energy, but it's expansive energy, and it's very logical to the 3D world, because Jupiter is a planet that comes before Saturn. Saturn in our solar system represents the outskirts of cold hard reality. So it's expansion, but within the 3D realm. And that Piscean energy with Mars and Neptune and Pisces, it's expansive, but it's Neptune is beyond Saturn, so we broke through the confines of gravity. So that Piscean energy deals with more the universal law versus the man-made law of the Jupiterian Sagittarius energy. So it's trying to help us bridge between universal consciousness coming more into the human mankind consciousness. So another way to look at it, think about this is it's like thinking cosmically but acting locally. Okay, again, it's going to be a repeated theme I'm going to talk about in January. So, and then the other important thing that happens on the new moon is Mercury, the planet of communication, finally goes direct. So we're like really mostly out of most of the major retrogrades for this year. So again, we can start that forward movement. Energy is coming forward. So I guess in summary, this new moon is about forging ahead, and what we thought before was impossible, inconceivable, or unreachable is things that we can now move forward and start to attain. So we start off with a nice, beautiful new moon on the 7th. Then the next major astrological event is on December 12th. So 12/12 is always an important date during the month of December, and it's during this time it always opens up this portal or gateway that connects us with the galactic center. So again, we're talking really big, really wide, expansive consciousness here, and so the portal always gateway opens on the 12th of December and is open through the winter solstice on the 21st. So it's a big time, and it's a time when in our solar system's rotation, in the galaxy. It's when we're closest to the galactic center of the central sun. So again, it's kind of like it's our best cellular reception, so to speak, into the heart of the Milky Way. So again, it's like this December is always about this big expansion, new horizons, where are we going? So it's a really beautiful time. I like to also say it's like coming home to our cosmic womb. It's like really, the birth of where we are, where we can really connect with that much greater oneness beyond who we are, beyond our solar system, and to the larger universe. And then the other big thing that also happens on December 12th is that Mercury moves into the sign of Sagittarius again. And again, that Sagittarius is that very wide, expansive, expanding horizons, great vision. So again, it's like we're getting bigger and bigger hits. We're all getting bigger and bigger upgrades of who we are and where we're going. Then on December 20th, which is the day before the solstice, we've got some more large energy. And on that day, the sun exactly makes a really beautiful harmonious trine to the planet Uranus. And this combination, Uranus is this rebel planet. And I always explain Uranus as, that picture of Einstein with the crazy hair and the tongue sticking out. That's Uranus. It's like this madcap genius. And, and sun to Uranus, it's like, I got to be free, I got to be me kind of energy. And it's really about being true to yourself is very revolutionary, because the more authentic you can be, the more that you can truly shine your light, the more you give other permission to shine their light authentically. So it's like this really beautiful light that's, these big aha moments that are coming in. And then on the very next day, on December 21st, which is the winter solstice. So the winter solstice is the day that it's about returning. It's about the return of the light, because it's the day where we have it's the longest. I'm trying to say this. It's the where we have the least amount of light, and it's the longest night. Help me out, Janine. What am I trying to say? You know what I mean.
You got it. We have the longest night. It's the longest night of the year. So you nailed it. I didn't want to interrupt.
That's okay. I always appreciate, it's a group participation what we're doing here. So what we're doing on this day, it's oftentimes, there's a lot of ritual around it, and it's about calling back the light. But so, but think of it, it's calling back the light. It's also calling back the light of your consciousness, because we're in that really dark, kind of void kind of energy during that time. So what do you want to bring into the light of your consciousness that's been hidden in your subconscious? And that solstice, it's like literally, it's like, between the solstice, we have the winter solstice, then the equinox, and then the summer the summer solstice. But it's like literally, think of that energy. It's really like a pendulum. With the solstices, it's like the solstice means the sun standing still. So there is this stillness that we can really tap into that's really lovely with this energy. Let's see. So the winter solstice too. So the other things that are going on for this is, so this is also the where that portal, that stargate that opened on 12/12 begins to close. Then the other major aspects going on this day is Mercury, the planet of communication, is sitting next to Jupiter, the planet of expansion, moral and ethics, all in the sign of Sagittarius. And so again, this is bringing, great hope, optimism, big plans, big ideas, expansion of faith. Faith is going to be a big, I think, word this year. And faith is really, trust in knowing that God, infinite spirit, has got this for you. The universe has your back. We just need to trust it and not try and impose too much of our own personal will and timing with it. So faith is a big, big word for 2019. Other beautiful things going on this beautiful solstice, which I love to celebrate, is Venus, the planet of beauty and compassion and love and money and relationships. is making a really beautiful, harmonious aspect to the planet Neptune, which is that universal love. So it's a really nice combination of universal love and personal love. It's very romantic. It's very ideal. It's having a love affair with love, having a love affair with life, having a love just exuding love. I think the holidays are really going to be so lovely, and people are going to finally be coming out of the woodworks, and they're going to want to be socialized. They're going to want to be around more people, and I think the Christmas, the holidays, December, it's going to be really nice. For a change. It's going to be, and we need this. It's going to be very cathartic. We need a catharsis right now. Oh my God, in a good way. Let's see. What else about the solstice? I think those are the highlights for the solstice. And then the very next day on December 12th, so December 22nd, we have a full moon in Cancer. So it's a pretty full days. The 21st, the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd is just action packed. So on the 22nd, we have a full moon in Cancer. That full moon in Cancer, so the moon is in Cancer, the sun is in Capricorn, and so this is helping us kind of with some work and home life balance. And it's making some really nice aspects to the planet Uranus, that crazy madcap genius. So, but it's really just just a small recap on that. It's really just it's about excitement, positive change, and really pleasant surprises. So, lovely, lovely, lovely. So, the further we get in December, the more joyous it will definitely be. And then looking at December 31st, so New Year's Eve, and then January 1st, New Year's Day, the energy starts to change. So this is actually where we start with that forward momentum of action, more action in 2019. So on that New Year's Eve, New Year's Day energy, Mars, the planet of action, moves into the sign of Aries, its own home sign. So Mars in Aries is about ready, fire, aim. It's ready to go. It wants to take charge. It's going to trailblaze. It's going to be a pioneer. It's like, come on, let's get this party started. Enough talk about what we want to do. I want action. So, which is great. So it's going to, start. That's why we want to do the dreaming part with the new moon in December. At the same time, the sun and the planet Saturn are sitting together next to each other in the sky during this time frame as well. So in Sun and Saturn in Capricorn, this is about being responsible and putting in the right structure and foundation. So even though we're really eager to go, this authority figure, it's like, okay, we're going to make sure we do this right. We really want some really strong foundation in where we're going and where we're heading, and being cautious with this. So I really like that strong Sun Saturn authority with it. And then we have a lovely, the moon is sitting next to Venus in the sky. And just the other day, I was up early enough and I could actually see it. We have had the same thing going on in the sky earlier a few days ago. And the moon and Venus sitting in the sky in the morning. It's just beautiful. It was just awe-inspiring. It's just moon Venus is just lovely and compassionate, and it's about really being able to share your emotions openly, and it's about harmony and peace and very gentle, creative kind of energy. So I would really say, really ask yourself, who do you want to surround yourself with that New Year's Eve and New Year's Day? How do you want to end and begin the new year? Who do you want to have around you? Are the people around you, are they supportive of you? Are they not supportive of you? If they're not supporting you, then why do you want to have that energy around you? So if they're not lifting you up, especially with all this Sagittarius energy that we're going to be experiencing in 2019, then you might want to do a little more cleaning house. Okay, so that's December. Let's look at, so we're going to look at just give you a taste of January and February for 2019. But what I want to say in general for 2019 is going to be a dress rehearsal for 2020. because January 12th of 2020 is going to be a major astrological event. I mean, there's always stuff going on in the sky, but this is like the next major astrological event. And it's when the planet Pluto is sitting next to the planet Saturn in the sky. And this happens every 33 to 38 years. But it's the two major planets of, they're both badasses, and they're both planets of authority. So when these two come together, you really have to take note. And it could be something we could talk about later too, but I still have to do more research on all the times these planets have come together and what happened. But for the most part, it's about redistribution of power, and who's in power and who's in control of all of our resources. And it's not just financial resources. This is financial, it's environmental, it's everything. So it's like, this is like, you know, with major power comes major responsibility. And there are huge tests of integrity and morality when these two planets come together, you know, especially for the people that are in control and power of countries and things, but even with ourselves, and especially people that are born with this combination, they have their karma comes back like instantly. If they aren't acting out of integrity and, you know, really being mindful of what is going on, it swings back so fast for them, versus other people that aren't born with this. It's like, you know, we might be able to get a whole lifetime without having anything come back. These people, there is like no room for forgiveness. So it's going to be a really, really interesting time, but you're going to see this building more and more, and these themes coming up more and more this year. And actually there was, I don't really like talking about politics, but there was, in Wisconsin, the GOP was trying to pass through a law that would kind of mitigate the new governor that came in as Democrat. It's like, this is, you know, integrity issues and moral issues, and it's like, okay, you're in power, but is that the correct power? You know, I don't know. I'm not here to judge anything. I don't know, but it's those kind of themes that we might see more. So right use of power is going to be the theme beginning in January 2020. But again, that's going to be more and more of issues that are coming up in 2019. Again, dress rehearsal for that. Okay, enough about that. Let's move to January. January 2019. Woo! Hello, January. So we start January with on January 5th. So just after the new year, we're going to have a solar eclipse. So we have two eclipses in January. So eclipses are always major endings and beginnings. So and what the eclipses do during the eclipses, they want to really block out all the background noise and really bring to the forefront what the universe wants you to pay attention to. So January 5th, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn. This is actually really exciting. Again, this is the energy of moving forward. That Capricorn energy is about Rose business and structure and responsibility and wisdom. Lots of wisdom with Capricorn. And with the other, it's also connecting with the planet Neptune, again, that universal bliss and oneness. So that's very harmonious, and it's very, again, a very optimistic influence. So this is a great time to start something. It's a great time to actually start a business, because there's other aspects in there that are going to help with the fortitude to reach those long-term goals. And there's nice financial independence with this new moon energy. So this is the time to start something. Great time to start a business, start whatever it is, jump in, commit, because you'll actually be committed to it to be able to see it to the end. So so the other thing too, so if you actually if your birthday is around January 5th, give or take a few days, or in July, around July 5th, give or take a few days, this is going to be really affecting you. So the other thing to keep in mind when it comes to eclipses is you'll get an understanding of the purpose of this eclipse on January 5th, 90 days before. 90 days before this eclipse, which should be, let me do the math in my head, is that like October? So around the 1st of October, I think that's right. So October-ish, you had a little sense of what this eclipse might bring. Now we have the eclipse on January 5th, and now it's really going to be in the forefront of what universe wants you to pay attention to. And then 90 days after this, which would be April, around the beginning of April, is the action time of how this eclipse is really gonna start to come into fulfillment. So very exciting times. Then on January 13th is another major theme that starts for the rest of the year, and it's where we have the planet Jupiter squaring off with the planet Neptune in the sky. So this is going to happen 3 times. So this is January 13th, June 16th, and September 21st are the 3 major astrological events with us. Jupiter is the planet of morals, ethics, expansion, vision. Neptune is that universal, this is it's very expansive. Neptune relates more with and the Jupiter is the human-made laws, okay? Neptune is universal law. It's so expansive, it's diffuse. It's about universal bliss and oneness, and that connection to infinite spirit. So again, this is that. So these 2 planets are squaring off again, and this is again that thinking cosmically, acting locally. This is bringing that universal law into human law. This is about believing the unbelievable. Miracles happen every day, and this is like this, really, like if you can really get, tuned in, tapped and turned onto this energy, it's like every day is a miracle. Things can show up. Ask and you shall receive. But the tricky part with managing this, again, because it's a square, and squares are tension and overwhelm, and so sometimes how do we manage the energy? So it can be a little bit tricky. So this is can be a little bit fantasy versus reality. But then again, as reality, I think we're understanding more and more reality is really just a fantasy, and our fantasy is really the reality. Interesting times. So the bigger questions to ask with this is Jupiter and Sagittarius is, so Jupiter and Sagittarius, the questions to ask are, what do you truly believe in, and what adds hope and meaning to your life? And then Neptune and Pisces is asking you, what lies beyond the human-made constructs of belief systems? And what are you willing to let go of in order to attain peace and oneness with your companions in this life? Okay, so I'll repeat that one more time because that bears repeating. So Jupiter, what do you truly believe in, and what adds hope and meaning to your life? And Neptune and Pisces, what lies beyond the human-made constructs of belief systems, and what are you willing to let go of in order to attain peace and oneness with your companions in this life? Oh, I love that. Oh, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? I want to be happy, damn it. Whew, okay.
I think you've heard me say that many times, where I got that saying from Harvey when, it's a bit the play as well as a movie with Jimmy Stewart, about the big white rabbit. And he always says that, he's like, my mom taught me I could be clever or I could be pleasant. And he chose pleasant. So I remember as I was talking with you and everything, I was like, yeah, I've done the same thing my whole life, but we had to change the words a little bit, for where we are now. It's more like, you can be right, but if you're right and miserable, then you really haven't gained what you're here to do. And so for the people that are listening to you, that's the thing I'd like to remind them, is like, you can be totally right, but if you're miserable and you're right, you're not where you're supposed to be. You're not gaining the ground. You're not crossing the territory you need to be walking across. And so anyway, thanks for pointing all that out so I could get on my soapbox. And now I'm going to get back down and let you take it away, my dear.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, so with these two planets coming together in this square throughout the year, it can be a really, profound time of creativity, experience, definitely spiritual awakenings. With this, again, very, very expansive. Where do you want it? You're only limited by your own imagination. And this energy brings, again, some really nice enthusiasm with it. I guess the caution I would have this is it can be tricky to manage because of that illusion delusion, and I would also think, being mindful. I'll come back to that. I'm going to come back to that.
Can I put in an interjection here just a little bit, because I'm not the astrologer, but you know how I operate, and one of the things that really comes through is like, you really have to start meditating. Get off that thought that it's too difficult and you don't have time for it, because with these energies that we're getting ready to work on, if you are not connecting every day, and I don't mean that, okay, I gotta meditate, gotta go, I'm not, that's not what we're talking about here. It's like really calm the breath down, really calm the heart rate, get so quiet that you almost stop breathing, right? That kind of level of intensity of not forcing yourself not to breathe, but you're so oxygenated and so tuned in that you're in that place of total and complete peace and safety. And if you can't get there, that's what needs to start happening, because of the what can be, you were like saying, the illusion. There is going to be enough conflict with other people trying to bring that kind of stuff into your own life. You don't want that, and so you need to know where you stand in that real harmony that they always talk about in martial arts. They're always like doing the hand signs. That's where it needs to go. So I know you were like, oh, I'll come back to that. And we're like, oh, no, this is important. I want people to understand what this is all about. So whatever your meditation style, technique, whether you're doing yoga and that's how you get into your Zen, whatever that practice is, it is paramount when you hit January that you're doing that. At least those are the messages I kind of get when I hear you talk, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's got it. So, okay, back to you, Jill. Thank you.
No, absolutely, I agree, and thank you. Because again, the energy is so expansive, it's diffuse, and we can lose who we are. And without having that daily meditation practice of us getting back into a good foundation of who we are, knowing who we are, we can get lost in it. We can get carried away by it because we lose our strength in who we are. So yeah, amazing. That was perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at the next major event in January is on January 21st, which is the full moon, blood moon, total lunar eclipse. So this is going to be emotional. The last time we had a total full moon, blood moon, lunar eclipse was on July 27th of 2018. And we had eclipses in July, and everyone was just a hot mess. I had so many 911 calls, and it was just a hot, emotional mess. So we can probably expect the same thing around the 21st of people being an emotional hot mess with this eclipse, because the supermoon means that the moon is closest in its ecliptic to the moon. The moon is the closest to the Earth, so it's going to appear. It appears larger, feels larger. So it's things are going to be even more heightened than normal during the full moon. And I think it's the last total lunar eclipse that we have for a few years. So they're actually really pretty rare when you have these two events coinciding at the same time. And we will be able to see this over North and South America and most of Africa and Europe as well. So during this full moon, the planet Mercury of communication is going to be sitting across from the full moon, and that's going to make it difficult to make decisions. It's trying to balance your head and your heart, your logic and your emotions, your feelings and your thoughts. So that's going to be kind of a little cattywampus going on. And then at the same time, you have the sun and the moon like sitting across from each other. I'm trying to like see. So we have sun and moon sitting across from each other, and then we have the planet Uranus over here, that madcap genius of Einstein, squaring off and kind of making this T-square to the sun and the full moon. And so Uranus is always expect the unexpected. So with Uranus squaring off with the moon, it's kind of about emotional outbursts and rapid mood swings and impulsive reactions. With it squaring off with the sun, it's wanting to do things your own way against, again, impulsive reactions. Squaring off with Mercury is miscommunication, definitely foot and mouth syndrome. Think before you speak during this time, and maybe things won't be so emotional, okay? So this is not a good time to make sudden changes, especially in relationships. It's just not a good time to really, you gotta let the emotions process through, or don't get carried away. You know, again, when we always have to think too, whenever we're feeling something so viscerally, that it's never about the other person. It's our own shadows that we have to deal with. And then the full moon is lighting, it's illuminating that subconscious energy of the moon. So keep that in mind. But the higher side for this energy is this full moon. It does bring confidence and courage, but we really need a lot of self-control and patience with ourselves and other people during this time. So again, try not to be the emotional hot mess and and take control. But you can. So in summary, too. It's great for self-expression, creativity, and originality, because we're dealing with, it's actually the last eclipse in that, because I'm sorry I didn't mention this, the moon is at 0 degrees Leo, the sun is at 0 degrees Aquarius, so it's actually the very last eclipse in this Leo Aquarius energy that we've been going on for the past almost 18 months. So it's a wrapping up of that. So the tagline for this new moon is that it is better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation. And that's a quote by Herman Melville. So that's really
your guy. You like Herman.
That's the lesson for that full moon.
Got it. Well, thank you, because you knew we were on a timeline, and I could tell you were speeding up. And so thank you for that, because, you could tell we were getting closer and closer to time. So you go ahead and stay on the line, but I'm going to go ahead and close this particular vision out. We're going to have links below where you can find where Jill operates on the internet, where you can book time so that she can do readings for you. If you are a business owner, and if you're someone who's thinking about starting a business or a major project, maybe you're starting a book, or you're thinking about starting an online course or something like that, really recommend that you talk to Jill, because she'll let you know what's influencing it. So when things seem to come out of the depths and grab you on the arm, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's that? You're actually a little bit more prepared. You're like, oh, wait a minute, she did say something about this. Okay. And then you can move forward. And that's how I found your readings to be very helpful in my own business. Is when things came out, people were like, how can you handle this so calmly? I mean, oh my gosh, everybody else running around with their head, and you're just like, no, I was given it's almost like a speed bump. I was shown, Jill kind of gave me a speed bump on this one. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And Jill, did you want to say anything before I stop the recording?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. It's such an honor and always a pleasure to be with you. And thank you for all that you do.
No problem. All right. We'll see you guys soon.
This has been the Practical Mystic Show with Janine Bolin. For show notes, resources, and more, visit the8gates.com. Thanks for listening.